Hi, and welcome back to Meet Your Body. I am so excited and happy to have you here today. We are talking about the hidden benefits of lifting weights and building muscle. And we're talking about this because on September 1st, if you're listening to this in real time, September 1st, 2025, I am starting my 4-week muscle strength program in my unlimited community. We are focusing on everything you need to build muscle strength long term, no matter what season of life you're in. So, home workouts, daily workouts, beginner options, advanced options, the equipment you need. We're going to have sessions with a registered dietitian on how to fuel your muscles for building muscle strength. We're going to talk about modifications and injuries and everything you need. So the link to sign up for that is below. And if you're not listening in real time, no worries. You could always hop into Unlimited. We offer workouts, again, daily, and we always have dumbbell and weightlifting workouts there. So come check that out. The link is below. So with all of that in mind and really thinking a lot about muscle strength lately, I wanted to talk about the hidden benefits of muscle strength because we talk so much about building muscle and muscle mass, as we should. That is what we're doing when we are lifting weights, when we are really focused on progressive overload, on the things we need to build muscle mass. So it's not just lifting weights, it's all like, how do we program that? How do we incorporate all the nuance around it? We know we do it to build muscle mass. We generally know also as we age as women, we tend to lose muscle mass. So it's even more important to build muscle mass. We know that for strength. And then generally, I think most of us know that it's really important that it's the number one way to prevent bone loss and to prevent osteoporosis is lifting weights and building muscle strength through lifting weights. So those are the things we talk about the most. But there are some really, really cool and important other benefits of having muscle strength, building muscle mass, and lifting weights. And those are the things I wanted to talk about today. So consider this kind of a movement snack. This is going to be a short podcast listing the benefits, but I want you to have it because I think it's really helpful to keep it in mind as you're searching for motivation for building that muscle strength. Because I know personally, at least years ago, especially in my early 20s, my motivation was just burning calories. I mean, truly, that's what I said. I'm like, I just work out so that I can eat what I want. And that was fine at the time. I can't say it motivated me all that much, but it was my reason. It wasn't until I was diagnosed with endometriosis, I started experiencing all of my health issues. It wasn't until then that I realized the true benefits of movement and exercise. That is what kept me consistent. That is why I've been consistent now for 25 years, is because I know what movement and exercise does for my body. And building muscle and using dumbbells is no different. I'm motivated to do it because I actually love to do it. I just feel empowered when I do it. It's creative to me. It challenges me. So I enjoy it, but I stay motivated because of what I know I'm doing for my body in the long term, which includes keeping my muscle mass and protecting my bones, but also includes these other fun hidden benefits. So let's get right to it. Number one, and I'm listing this number one because I feel like it is something more women should know about because it just links into so many women's goals in their 40s and 50s, especially 30s, 40s, 50s, which is you have a higher resting metabolic rate with more muscle. The more muscle you have, the higher your resting metabolic rate. Now, what does that mean? Your resting metabolic rate is the amount of calories your body burns when at rest. So during the day, right now, sitting here at my computer talking to you, when you are watching TV, when you are sitting doing your knitting or reading or hanging out and playing games with the kids, your resting metabolic rate is the amount of calories you're doing during that time, during just what you need to live, what you need to function. And it is higher when you have more muscle. All right. Muscle increases your metabolic rate, which means you will burn more calories at rest. This is important for many reasons. One of which is that when we go through perimenopause and lose estrogen, our metabolic health goes off the charts. Like it just is thrown into disarray. We can gain visceral fat very easily as a part of that entire process. We don't burn calories or process glucose as efficiently. These are the reasons so many women say, I'm eating the same thing, I'm doing the same stuff, but it's just not having the same effect. It's because our metabolic health really does change during that time of life. And lifting weights and building muscle will help with that. Okay. It'll help your metabolic health overall. It'll increase your resting metabolic rate. Number 2 is, I just touched on it. It also helps to regulate your blood sugar. So muscle helps regulate your blood sugar. Super important, not only in the case of diabetes, but just for all of us, especially as I said, as we age, our loss of estrogen has a direct effect on our body's efficiency and ability to process glucose. So we can become insensitive to our insulin. We can have lots of issues with that. So the more muscle you have, the better your body is able to regulate blood sugar. Number 3, it is actually tied. Your muscle strength, muscle mass is tied to increased longevity for everyone, but particularly for women. So there was a study, and it was based on the habits of about 400,000 adults in the US. And researchers found that people who did strength training 2 to 3 times a week had a 20% reduced risk of premature death from all things, from everything. So it truly does lead to increased longevity. And I think there are many factors with that. From a physical therapist standpoint, I will just tell you, it will help prevent falls. Falls are one of the leading causes of putting people into nursing homes and into skilled nursing facilities when they're older. And we know that there is a slippery slope at that point into becoming, not being able to function, not being able to move, becoming immobile, and leading to pneumonia and things like that. So the more you can stay strong, stay on your feet, stay balanced, stay independent, the longer your lifespan. Number 4, you will have a reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease. Reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease with increased muscle mass and increased muscle strength. They're still looking into the exact reason for that and the correlation, but it's really important to note, and we talk about it all the time. I mean, we don't necessarily know the exact mechanism, but we do know that they are tied together. The more you exercise, the more you move. And now we know also the more muscle mass and muscle strength you have, the less risk of Alzheimer's disease that you will have. Number 5, it helps to reduce anxiety and it helps to improve your mood. This too, and again, I talk a lot, I know, about estrogen in our life. I think it's because I am at that age group. I'm 47. I'm in the midst of it. I can feel it, but also it is across the board finally being talked about. Women, especially late 30s through 40s through 50s, increased anxiety, depression, brain fog because of our loss of estrogen. And so many women go to their doctors for help for these symptoms and they're put on medication. Again, if you need it, absolutely, many of us do. But many times for that age group, the medication isn't necessarily going to help simply because the symptoms are there because of the loss of estrogen. So anything that you can do, I mean, we are talking, yes, therapy, yes, possibly medication, getting into the sunshine, working on your nervous system, and also exercise and building muscle. The more you can add all of those ancillary pieces, the better off you will be for your mental health, including your anxiety and your depression, brain fog, whatever it might be for you, however it might manifest. So that's an important benefit. Next, improved function in life. Again, as a physical therapist, this is one I'm going to shout from the mountaintops forever. We talk all the time about function. It is great to have muscles for aesthetics. And I know many of us want that. And it's a piece of it that we are not going to ignore, that we're going to validate. That is a very great goal to have an aesthetic look if that is important to you. For me, I have found that comes and goes, and it might wax and wane a little bit on how consistent I can be if that is my only goal, because there are things I can't control about that. There are things I cannot control about my appearance. I couldn't control having a mastectomy. I mean, I have major scars and a different body than I did. There are things I can't necessarily control about aging. The loss of estrogen is going to cause adipose tissue in other parts of my body. I need to work on that. So if I consider aesthetics as my main goal, if I don't reach that, I end up feeling really bad about myself, like I did something wrong. Versus if my main goal is I'm going to increase function, I want to play with my kids out on the driveway when they ask me to. I want to be able to run across the street. If it's a yellow light and I'm trying to get across the street, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to hike. I want to be able to do the yard work and help. I went this past weekend. This is a big example. I traveled for 4 days and helped my parents move out of their house. So they are downsizing. They're at the age they're finally doing that transition and moving. They're actually moving here close to us. And I helped them pack. I was carrying boxes. I was carrying very heavy things, moving them around. I was packing a pod. I was climbing in the back of a 100-degree pod to try to move boxes and things around. And I was contorting myself into positions. And you know what I thought the whole time? Thank goodness I exercise. Thank goodness I lift weights so I can be helpful and I can serve other people in this time of life. That was a huge one for me. So whatever it is for you, you can think of that goal. Many times for me, it's goals I have, but it's also just being in a situation and realizing, oh my gosh, thank goodness I lift weights so that I can do this. So it really, really, really works towards our function, allowing us to do all those things in life we want to do and have fun doing and want to maintain, but also the things that might come up out of nowhere that we think, you know what, thank goodness I can climb in the back of this pod in 100-degree heat and hold these boxes up while someone gets me a roll of tape, which is exactly what I was doing. Next is better balance. And I mentioned this, I talked about the falls, so I won't harp on this, but balance is huge. And this is another one I thought a lot about this weekend. You guys know, I know you do. I know you will recognize this. You're going to hold as many bags as you can in your arms and you're going to walk from your car, but you have to close, right? You have to maybe close the tailgate of the car while you're doing it. Then you walk to the door. Then you might have to balance on one leg while you're resting the bags on the other leg so that you can reach in to get your keys and unlock the door. I know you know what I'm talking about. So it really will help with that balance. Like that's what I was thinking of, but I was like, thank goodness I lift weights, like lift the single dumbbell and do the workouts in unlimited that I have everyone do, because I am able to balance better, not only to prevent falls, but again, to do the real life activities that I want to and need to be able to do. And then this is going to be the last hidden benefit. It can combat the loss of estrogen. So listen to this. Exercise training can enhance aromatase expression in muscle, leading to increased local estrogen production. You can actually help give yourself a bump in estrogen production by building muscle. That is important too. And I know some of you might be later in life listening to this, earlier in life listening to this. If you are a woman, this is important. It is going to come into play at some point. And if you are earlier in life listening to this, the sooner you start, the better. You will help prevent osteoporosis, help with your estrogen, help with your balance. You will help everything by starting earlier. But also, if you didn't start earlier, that's okay. You start now, wherever you are. But having more muscle can actually lead to increased local estrogen production. I'm going to do whatever I can right now. As my estrogen is lowering, I want to help support the estrogen I have left. I want to support my body systems that are changing slightly because of the lack of estrogen. And if there is a way that I can actually keep some estrogen levels there, by all means, I'm going to do it. So if lifting weights and building muscle strength can help me do it, great. It's just one more added hidden benefit of lifting weights. And I said that was the last one, but really I want to talk about one more because it is what personally might mean the most to me. That is almost the hardest to put into words, which is the empowerment that comes When you start to lift weights and you see your own strength, whether you see it right away and it surprises you, or you see it improving over time, or you just suddenly can go out and do an activity you hadn't been able to do for 20 years, there's nothing to compare with that type of empowerment. And I find it then permeates out into everything else we do. That is a big reason why I work so hard with my clients to get them to start lifting weights. It's because I know deep down, and I can't make you do it, but I could recommend it as much as I can. I know the feeling that will come when you start to embody that strength. And it might take a while. At first, you might feel weak. That's okay. We have to get through that part. There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. We all start somewhere. But truly, I have seen in Unlimited, especially, you guys share so many amazing stories with me of, like, I had a woman talk about having to clean out her camper with her husband. And typically she's not able to lift this one specific thing. Like each season when they clean it out, she didn't even think about it. She lifted it, did it. And her husband was like, "Oh, you didn't need my help?" And she said, "No, actually, I didn't need your help." And then I talked to some of you who are caretakers for loved ones or for partners, and you are able to protect your body better in that caretaking role because you are stronger. I talked to someone who was learning how to stand up paddleboard in her 50s, and she was realizing how hard it was to like get up on the paddleboard from the water. And she said, "Okay, what are the workouts to help me do that? I want to specifically work on that." There's always a workout for it. We can build strength and we can improve function, which then can increase our quality of life. So that is my very long advertisement for lifting weights. All right. And I have so many other resources. If you're asking, how do I start? I'm new. How do I exercise if I have a prolapse? How many times a week do I do it? What's progressive overload? I have podcasts and resources for that. So I will have those links below. And then again, the best thing you can do, at least if you're listening to this in real time and you're ready to learn more and get started, join that 4-week muscle strength program I have in Unlimited starting September 1st, 2025. I'll have the link to sign up for that as well below. All right, here is to more muscle strength. I'll talk to you soon.